celebrates the demise of Roe v. Wade.
Oops. I celebrate the demise of Roe v. Wade? Is he saying that because he knows that he thinks he can run on abortion? Does he know what he's saying?
No, he doesn't know what he's saying half the time. He's reading something and he can't even read it. He's like Joe Biden in that sense. The minute Joe Biden doesn't look at the teleprompter, look out below. I mean, his comments over the weekend, we're not going to drill anymore, we're going to shut down coal. I mean, great. Even Joe Manchin turned against him. I mean, which is a whole separate thing that Manchin was suckered in.
Oh, I'm going to get to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, here's Joe Biden letting everybody knows what he thinks of coal on Saturday, cut 2.
It costs them too much money. They can't count. No one's building new coal plants because they can't rely on it, even if they have all the coal guaranteed for the rest of the existence of the plant. So it's going to become a wind generation. And all they're doing is they're going to save them a hell of a lot of money, and they're using the same transmission line that transmitted the coal-fired electric on. We're going to be shutting these plants down all across America.
Are you crazy? Joe Manchin then came out with a tweet and says this: President Biden's comments are not only outrageous and divorced from reality, they ignore the severe economic pain the American people are feeling on rising energy costs. Comments like these are the reason the American people are losing trust in Joe Biden and instead believe he does not understand the need to have all-in energy policy and keep our nation totally energy independent and secure. It seems like his energy policy, his positions change depending on the audience and the politics of the day. And he goes on. Think about this. For a Democrat, even Joe Manchin, to do this 2 days before an election, think about how seething he was and how damaging it is, but how many real people in this business have been hurt by Joe Biden's policies and fantasies.
Yes, and one of the shames of it, Brian, is that Joe Manchin was part of the problem. He was right to reject all of those policies. He stood up against them, and then for some unknown reason, he caved in, made a halfway measure, and this is not only going to hurt inflation, this latest thing that he backed, but it also, he counted on the trust of Democrats for permits, for drilling, and all of those things, thinking he could sort of make a special deal, he could have it both ways. But he misread the Democratic Party. It's not the same Democratic Party. It is now a radical party. It is an anti-fossil fuel party.
And they 100%. Lie about it. And they lie about it. And here's the problem.
And Manchin knew all that. So I have to say, when a guy makes a stupid deal like that, he's either cut a secret part of that deal or he's not thinking with his head. Because Manchin knew better and then backtracked, and so he deserves this. He deserves to be betrayed because he betrayed people who counted on him to stand up against this. I mean, what a mess he's made of his own reputation.
Well, what bothers me most, if he just said, listen, I'm going to get rid of coal, I'm going to get rid of fossil fuels. Instead, he told us he was going to frack. And he told us the energy production was the same. And the oil companies were being greedy. And Vladimir Putin's price hike, that's what this is. And Saudi Arabia cut back production. That's the problem. And then we find out he totally lied because he knew all along. It gets worse. Listen to what he said in Westchester yesterday to a heckler. Cut 1.
No more drilling. There is no more drilling. I haven't formed any new drilling.
So he's telling everybody no more drilling while blaming other countries for it and saying oil companies are being greedy and the refineries got to pick up the pace. I mean, the lying is what gets me worse. It gets me more than anything.
Well, and I think it points to what this election is about. I mean, there's an incoherence to Biden's policies. They don't make sense on the surface, that you want to have this oil, but you don't want to have it produced domestically. And so therefore you count on Saudi Arabia or Venezuela, which you can't count on Saudi Arabia or Venezuela or Russia, right? So what are you going to do? Oh, let's make a deal with Iran. I mean, it's creating new problems. This oil independence, energy independence is a gift from God, and to reject it and to make ourselves subject to these totalitarian regimes which are, persecuting their own people, killing their own people, and we're going to make a deal because Joe Biden doesn't want to have a drill. Why? Because AOC doesn't want it, because because John Kerry won't be able to fly everywhere and be a hero in climate change. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And that's why I think the polls, the people are looking at the polls. They've given the Democrats a chance. Democrats have had lots of opportunities. People have been very patient, I would say. And yet there's Biden on the last day saying such stupid things. You have to say it's hopeless. I can't possibly vote for any Democrat who supports these policies. We need a change of correction.
And that's why you believe...
That's what I think this election is going to be.
And you believe it'll be a wave?
I do. I think the incoherence of Biden, even in most recent days, if anybody has any doubts, you watch him, you watch Fetterman, you watch Nancy Pelosi, you watch AOC. You say, what is this party about? What are they doing to this country? They did not... I mean, you mentioned the Putin price hike. That's the first time I've heard that in weeks, right? They gave up on that. But what a big lie that was. They gave up on that. I mean, I think, if I'm reading this right, that ordinary people across this country are going to say enough.
Michael Goodwin, thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, Brian.
We'll find out. 1-866-408-7669 and to get a perspective by reading Michael Goodwin's column. When we come back to your calls, you know the number. Also, you write me, BrianKilmeade.com. Then Will Hurd at the bottom of the hour. You're listening to the Brian Kilmeade Show.
Coming to you on a need-to-know basis, because, man, do you need to know. It's Brian Kilmeade.
Every year, we say we'll wake up earlier, exercise more, really rest, and eat healthier. It's hard for us. But for dogs, not so much. Dogs are up at dawn, run for fun, sleep like champs, and they love eating fresh, healthy food every single meal. Give your dog another healthy habit. Real fresh food from the Farmer's Dog. Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/radio.
From the Fox News Podcasts Network.
Hey, it's Will Kane, co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend. Join me as I share my thoughts on a wide range of topics, from sports and pop culture to politics and business. With the help of newsmakers and personalities, I will provide you my free, unfiltered, uncancelable opinion on the hottest topics in America.
The Will Kane Podcast. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts. America is listening to Fox News. Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon.
It's wildly overpopulated with activists masquerading as journalists. And that's why you'll hear all the crowing in the world about Republican rhetoric and zip ties at the Pelosi house. Hey, we wish Pelosi well. But if you really want to curb political violence, at some point you have to acknowledge the truth about political violence, which is that it's happening all over the country.
Weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. Listen live or get the podcast now at foxacrossamerica.com.
Experience pain, burning, numbness, or tingling in your hands, legs, or feet? Are you worried your balance may lead to a seriously damaging fall? Danville Neuropathy Center has a proven exciting treatment for peripheral neuropathy that repairs and regrows damaged nerves. It's FDA cleared, and because of its success, Medicare and most major insurances cover the treatment. Don't risk your health any longer. Call 925-270-1460 to schedule an appointment or visit DanvilleNeuropathyCenter.com. That's 925-270-1460. We are a COVID-compliant facility.
Hey, Santa Clara County sports fans. The new Omicron booster is here and available for everyone 12 and older. Remember that kids can get really sick with COVID and the effects can be serious and long-term. You can't be at the top of your game when you're super fatigued. So keep your athletes safe this fall and winter with this important booster. And of course, wear a high-quality mask whenever you're inside with lots of people. Visit sccfreevax.org or call 211 to make your booster appointment. Stay healthy and stay in the game.
Make a difference as a nurse at Vitas Healthcare and earn a lump sum payout after your first year. With our new Difference Maker program, team members who care for patients at the bedside will be rewarded for their commitment with a lump sum payout after they reach their 1-year anniversary. Eligible positions include RNs, admissions RNs, LVNs, LVNs, and team managers. To earn your lump sum payout after your first year, apply today at careers.vitas.com.